Thank you for joining me today, Preeta, from One World Academy. Thank you for coming to Shape Your Future podcast. It's a great honor to have you sat opposite me.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share our vision to the world.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, and thank you for the invitation over the weekend here in Los Angeles to be in Limitless. It was an amazing experience. So
what has been your experience in the weekend?
It's just seeing so many people light up, and that's all down to your wisdom in front and leading people. It's just seeing so many people smile and connect. It's just something I love. I love seeing people connect. I love seeing people with big smiles on their face, and also people having breakthroughs in different areas of their life as well, and also putting that emphasis into that people actually can achieve anything that they want, which is one of my missions, is to get people to believe that anything in life is possible. So thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you had a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Yes.
So just talking a little bit about the seminar which you delivered, how does it feel to be in front of hundreds of people and deliver what your mission is?
We have the vision very clear. We want people to live in a beautiful state. We want people to live in a flow. So once we have the vision very clear, where we want them to be, then embracing them and moving them, it's so beautiful. The journey is wonderful.
Excellent.
I love it.
Yeah. And where's all this started from? Why did you decide to do this or start this mission?
Yeah. Let me first explain to you what the mission of One World Academy is. One World Academy is a wisdom and meditation school. So just to give you a little more idea of what we call as wisdom and what we call as meditation. Meditation definitely is not for us going out and sitting aloof or sitting silent just for a few minutes. Those are practices that we have. But for us, we combine meditation along with wisdom. And when this combination happens of having liberative wisdom and, say, a direct experience, where you move into a state of calm, or you move into a state of connection, or you move into a state of liberation. So when this comes together, the way you experience life and the way you carry forward has a huge transformation that you can bring to the people around you, to the families around you, and to the experience of work that you have. So the focus of One World Academy, or the vision of One World Academy, is just not to teach a small meditation for a few minutes where you'll move out of stress. Definitely it is a part of what we do, but we are nothing short of a total revolution in consciousness. We want every human being to live in a beautiful state, a state which is not limited to themselves, a state where they're able to impact others, a state where they're able to create great, nourishing relationships, a state where they're able to create great wealth, and the state where they're able to impact the community around.
Yeah. And why do you think that people are not living in this beautiful state?
We actually don't know how to handle stress. We don't know how to handle our challenges in life. And we suffer because we don't know how to handle it. Nobody has taught us how to handle it. So we have been given education. We've been given education over 17 years, 18 years. But all the education is focused upon knowledge. The focus is on thinking, on logical thinking, analytical thinking.
Yeah.
It has given survival skills. But how many of us have been taught to look within ourselves, to see what is happening within ourselves? The noise, the chaos, the confusion that is happening within ourselves. How many of us have focused on that? Not having focused on that, not having had freedom from the inner noise and confusion, we tend to live our lives from this place of confusion and noise, and creating and complicating more problems to our lives. So the journey is to actually becoming quiet within. So you will develop enormous passion, enormous energy to create a beautiful life outside.
Yeah, yeah.
We are all leaders. Every individual is a leader. A mother is leading the family, or a mother is leading the child. We have parents leading We have individuals leading their lives, but everybody is a leader. When we say a leader whose impact does not stop with oneself. A leader impacts the other. The question is, how do you want to impact? You want to impact being positive, or you want the impact being negative? You have the choice.
Yes.
If you're not going to bring attention to what is happening within you, and if you're going to be totally conflicted within, totally hurt within, and from that place of hurt, that place of anger, that place of fear, you're going to lead your lives, you're not a good leader.
Yeah, yeah. And you spoke about the education system. Why do you think they don't actually teach us this? Because what you're teaching people is going to help them so much in their life. You know, people are going to live in this beautiful state, and they're going to attract much more into their life and feel much better as well. Why do you think they don't teach us this?
The civilization has grown in such a way the external has become so much important. For One World Academy, for us too, external is extremely important because you're impacting the world around you.
Yeah.
But you can leave a positive impact only if you're in a beautiful state. If you are suffering, if you are in anger, if you are hurt, what is the impact that you're going to leave with your clients? What is it that you're going to teach your clients? Because in that space of anger, in that space of hurt, in that space of feeling lonely or miserable,
yes,
or suffering, the entire thinking, if you see, is revolving around yourself. So that is the insight the other founder had when we had an accident at the Big Bear Lake. He had a penetrating insight into human suffering.
yeah,
Krishnaji is the other founder. He's my husband. He had a penetrating insight into human suffering. How in suffering, the entire movement of the mind is preoccupying with oneself. And in suffering, you suffer because your thinking is revolving around yourself. The entire movement is self-centric.
yes,
Where the other is not involved, where you don't have a space for the other. And when you're in that space, you can't be a good leader. You can't lead your family, you can't lead your companies, you can't lead the world around you.
yeah,
It is only when you're in a beautiful state, when you're in a flow, that's when you can actually impact the other.
No, I completely agree, and obviously I've looked at some and listened to some incredible leaders out there, and a lot of them say that, you know, the external factors, they don't matter because it's all about the internal factors, and people will forget about what you've done externally, but people will always remember the internal factors of the individual.
We actually bring meditation, we bring processes, we bring liberative wisdom in order to address what is happening within you.
Yeah.
Step by step, you know, if you look at the journey at One World Academy, we start off with being calm. Then they move to a place of appreciation towards the world. Then they move to a place of actually connecting to others. Then they experience huge freedom and liberation. It's a journey that happens.
Yes.
But it's all about the inner world, and from this place, creating great, magnificent external world for you.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, it's incredible. And obviously I think a lot of people will be asking this question. So when you say being in a beautiful state, does somebody have to be in that state 24/7?
Okay. For us, a beautiful state is not an emotional high.
Yeah.
It's not about going to a rock concert and feeling high about those few moments and then getting back to the original feeling low and feeling meaningless and feeling that there's no sense of purpose. For us, a beautiful state is when the sense of self expands. When the sense of self is not very limited to yourself. Because when it's limited, you're actually in pain. When you're limited within your own self, you're in pain, you're in suffering, you're in sorrow.
Yeah.
But when this sense of self expands, to include others, you're actually in a beautiful state. And in that state, you're joyful. There is so much peace. There is so much courage. And you're very clear in your thinking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I understand how the brain works. So we have two parts. We have the conscious and we have the subconscious part of the brain. And I'm sure you know yourself is that our subconscious is like a computer. It remembers everything. It remembers everything we feel, touch, hear, smell. And obviously over the years we build up all these we can call them negative emotions, feelings, habits, behaviors. How does somebody now change all that's been developed over the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years? What steps would you give them to move out to that?
We don't want everybody to get back to the road. But as you say, subconscious is there, and subconscious keeps throwing up because of something that has happened to us in our past. Subconscious makes us think this way. And we continue living from that state, whatever it has created over the past several years. We continue to live in the state of being influenced by the subconscious because we are not bringing awareness to our thinking. We are not bringing awareness to what is happening within ourselves. So once you learn the art of meditation, once you learn the wisdom, then you'll be able to bring so much attention to the detailing of your own thinking, because people who come to us really get shocked at seeing what is happening within themselves. Because they've been totally unaware. They said, I never knew this was happening. I never knew I was doing it to myself. I never knew I was hurting myself so much, because you're living in a place of total unawareness of what is happening within you. So the meditations that we do kind of brings it's a gentle practice, slowly but surely moving you inwards, showing you the intricacies of all your thinking, all the movement of your thought. And from that place, on seeing, you experience freedom. And you're just free of all that is binding you.
Yeah. And so in London's a very busy place. Everybody's rushing to get things done, rushing to get from place to place. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of competition through stress, a lot of demand as well. So what would you say to somebody, or what would your 3 bits of advice be to somebody who's in this position? How can they start to filter or start to be in this beautiful state? What 3 bits of advice that you could give to them to get them started?
The first step is just understand that as long as we're in a rush, and we are in a rush from a not so beautiful state, when you're in a suffering state or a limited state where you feel separate, when you're in anger, when you're in fear, when you're feeling lonely, when there's a lot of disturbance, inner chaos, and confusion happening within you. Even in that rush, you're not going to be performing at your best. You need to be totally present in order to be at your best. And when we say you need to be totally present, you must be free of all your self-centric thinking and your self-centric obsession. If you're going to be free of all your self-centric thinking and self-centric obsession, that's when you're going to be present. So what I would suggest is start meditating. Visit One World Academy. You can visit at oneworldacademy.com, and you will learn a few practice. Start your life. Bring attention more to yourself so you can create great abundance for yourself.
That's great advice, and that's something I tell everybody myself as well, because life is a journey, and for you to enjoy that journey, you have to be in the present. You have to be, otherwise you're not going to enjoy it. You're going to be, like you say, you're going to be either thinking about the past or you're going to be thinking about the future. And I've come to understand myself how important it is to actually be in that present moment, because then you appreciate everything around you. And a lot of people, they don't have this appreciation, and they take life for granted until maybe something happens. So it's super important to be in that present moment in our life.
Definitely. It is very, very important. Anyone, for every individual for that matter. Every individual who wants to contribute, every individual who wants to make it big in life, every individual who wants to have a wonderful relationship, or every individual who wants to create great resources. It is very important you are centered within yourself and you awaken to your inner power.
Yeah.
If not, you're lost. You don't have clarity in thinking. You're not able to drive yourself. You're lost in the world. And life is beautiful. Life is extremely beautiful and extremely joyful if you're going to live from this beautiful state.
I completely agree.
Because life is not very long. It is short.
Yeah.
So let us live life from this beautiful state. Let us be awake to every moment. Let us not the past take over, or let not the future take us over. It's so important to live and enjoy every moment. Every moment that you spend with your child, or with your dog, or with your wife, or with your partner, or at work where you're trying to add value to everybody or to the society, let's be present. Let's be fully awake.
Yeah, and one bit of advice which I give people is because obviously people start to slide and think about the past or think about the future rather than being in the present mode. So what I tell them is if they find themselves drifting, is just to stop, take 3 big deep breaths in, 3 big deep breaths out, notice what's around you, your sensations, the noise, the feelings, and then start to continue on your journey and be in that moment.
We teach 3 conscious breaths too, and help them be awake to the now.
Yeah, it's great. And you mentioned the third tip was meditation. So I think people don't understand the meaning of meditation, or maybe they think it's something different, because I actually thought meditation was just sitting down and being quiet and
you have a totally new experience.
yeah. But then we had then one of the meditation exercises on the weekend, which I thought was incredible, is the laughter meditation. It was like we were all being hypnotized.
For us, there is no single path that works for everybody. It'll be so difficult if I'm going to ask you to sit for 45 minutes and just keep your eyes closed. So end of 45 minutes, we have people coming up and saying, I was here, I was there, I was not able to be focused. So the practice at One World Academy is a combination of wisdom and meditation. It is not separate. We teach you so that you can have an extremely different perspective of life. You will have a totally different experience of life because you're going to move beyond yourself. It's not going to be limited to yourself. You're going to be in a beautiful state. You're going to be in flow with life. So the meditations that we do does not involve sitting also. It is movement-based meditation. It is movement-based meditation. It is breath-based meditation. It's reflective meditation. It is laughing meditation. So we are put together so that it works for everybody. Whether he's a beginner or he or she is a beginner or as an expert, it works. You experience being in that flow.
Excellent. So what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting off in meditation? How would they go about it? How would they get started? What would you advise them to do?
I would first say the 3 conscious breaths.
Yeah. And what is the 3 conscious breaths?
Yes. You do the right breathing. Let us make it into 3 steps. The first step is you're aware that you're breathing. So you inhale. As you inhale, know that you're inhaling. And as you exhale, know that you're exhaling. Do it for 3 breaths. So it'll be like inhaling now and exhaling now. So for 3 cycles of breath. And then you're going to bring attention to the entire movement of breath. Where you're going to inhale, you're not going to stop inhaling only a part of your lung. You're going to inhale into your abdomen. So it's going to be a diaphragmatic breathing. You're going to breathe into your abdomen. You're going to expand your abdomen as you breathe into your abdomen, and then you contract your abdomen, and then collapse your lungs, and then you bring your breath out. So this is the diaphragmatic breathing. And the third step is prolonged exhalation. So you inhale. If you inhale for 3 counts, you exhale for 6 counts. If you inhale for 4 counts, you exhale for 8 counts. So you're going to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would be the starting thing that I can teach anybody. And even this is difficult for few people because breath is something very uninteresting. Yeah. And they don't want to bring attention to it. But believe me, if you're able to bring attention to your breath, if you're going to bring attention to the intricacy of your breathing, you'll be able to bring attention to so much that is going on within you. You'll learn to bring attention to all the movement of your thinking, all the movement of your thought. But that's at a later stage. Yeah.
So if somebody is struggling just to sit down and do these breaths, how can they continue to do it? How can they not stop? How can they...
No, it is okay to struggle in the beginning because we are not pros, but just understand it is a practice. Yeah. So you will get better at it.
So just keep doing it.
Just keep doing. If you're getting distracted in your second breath, it is fine. get it back again from where you left. So you'll take totally 9 different breaths. The first is being conscious, second is diaphragmatic breathing, and the third one is prolonged exhalation. So you will bring attention to the entire intricacy of your breathing. I put it into 3 parts. For beginners, it'll be difficult to put all 3 together. So let's do 3 conscious breaths, and then 3 diaphragmatic breathing, and then 3 prolonged exhalation.
Excellent.
Yeah. And it is okay to be distracted. If you're getting distracted in your first breath, just understand that you're distracted. Get back to the first breath.
And when would you recommend somebody to do this? In the morning, during the day?
Whenever you're stressed.
Yeah.
We live in a stressful life. We live a stressful life in a stressful world.
Yeah.
And we make decisions from this stressful place. We try to relate from this stressful place. Just understand it's not going to help us. It is always good for you to move away from the stress.
Yeah.
It is always good for you to move away from anger. It is good for you to move away from fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
It is not going to help you at all.
Yeah.
So start off with these breaths whenever you're stressed in life.
Would you think it's a good time to do it first thing in the morning?
That'll be great if you can do the first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. That'll be wonderful. But you can do as many times as you want. It doesn't take long. I'm sure. Not more than 3 minutes.
And I think everybody's got 3 minutes in their life to
Definitely.
have a massive impact on themselves and the people around them.
And the way it impacts your body, actually this 3 minutes of conscious breaths kind of has a huge effect on the way it works in your parasympathetic nervous system, how it regulates your blood pressure, how it regulates your pulse. It's amazing. We have a doctor with us who can vouchsafe.
So obviously we talk about being in a beautiful state. Is there times in your life that you get stressed as well?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And I practice. And as you keep practicing, it's so easy to move out of these states because you know that these states are actually not going to do good to you.
Yeah, and you can actually feel them coming on as well consciously.
Yes.
These states.
And since you're practicing so much of what is happening, to see what is happening within you, when something crops up like this, you know you can easily throw it away. You can move out of it. So as long as you're living in a weed, all the time in weeds, you don't know. But when you start practicing, you clear up your garden, it is all clean and beautiful. But when you have one single weed coming up, it's easy to pick it and throw it away.
That's a great example. Yeah, I love that. Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about, because I know you've worked with some real inspiring leaders around the world.
Yes.
Would you like to share with us some of the people which you've had impacts on?
We've had Tony Robbins come to us. He was there with us last October and he spent a few days with us and he's learned a lot. And in his own words, his relationship has gone to a whole new level after his relationship with his wife has gone to a whole new level after his experience, whatever he has had at One World Academy campus in India. So he was there. We have many social reformers come to us. The most interesting and the person whom we love the most in terms of transformation is Erica Ford. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a peacemaker. She works from New York, and she works for this community which lives in very hard conditions. And in her own words, she's been living a life of being a angry peacemaker. Now she's transformed into being a heart leader. She's moved away from holding on to anger and holding on to, I would say, anger and fear, into moving to a place of calm and connection, thereby trying to impact the society that she's living in. So we have angry peacemaker becoming a heart leader. Then we have Casey Sheehan, the ex-CEO of Patagonia. He was with us. He spent several days with us, actually. And his transformation he's able to carry out to his organizations. Now he's come out of Patagonia, but he still is a leader who brings about conscious changes in the business. So he is there. So people who are impacted by us don't stop with themselves. They go out, they reach, they share. and the transformation translates in the world. It is not limited to themselves.
So when you've got somebody like Tony Robbins coming to you and asking you for help, and he's been on this journey for the last 35 years and he's helped 50 million people around the world, how does it feel for somebody like Tony to come and ask you for help?
Tony Robbins is all the time, he loves to learn, and he loves to learn what he shared. So he's not in a position of like, I know it all. He's always learning. So that's a very nice thing about Tony Robbins.
Everybody, we're all learning. We're all
yes, exactly. We're all learning, and we're all wanting this world to be a better place.
Excellent. So why do people come to One World Academy? Why do they come to you when they don't go to anybody else? Because I assume there's a lot of centers in India doing similar stuff that you're doing. So why people should come to you?
One World Academy is non-denominational. It is secular. It gives the freedom. And we're only focused on one thing, about your transformation and about the transformation that you can bring to your family and the transformation that you can bring to the world. And it is a practice that is going to help any individual, whether he's a sports person, he's a speaker, he's just a parent, or he's just an individual business owner. It is going to help him or her in the performance that he can bring to the world.
So what can people expect when they come to one of your courses in India? How does it work? So they get there and then...
They get there and they're in for an intense journey.
Yeah.
An intense journey filled with joy, peace, laughter, and also tears. And in their own words, many of them, their words, it is very difficult when we ask them to write down what they've learned or what they've experienced. Many of them just write one thing. It is so difficult to write down in words what we experience, because it is something that they've never had before. It's something that they've never experienced before. It's something that they've never been taught before. It is a beautiful state of being limitless, of going beyond oneself. And for the first time, they're saying being oneself, like only limited to oneself, is causing them so much pain. As they expand their self to include others, they live in so much joy.
So they will get there, and then are they in a workshop all day?
Oh yes, it is intense. It is intense. They start off at 5:36 in the morning. But of course, it's broken so that they're able to assimilate whatever they're learning. They start off with yoga to take care of their body. So they're in a place mentally and physically that will help them absorb whatever they're learning. And then they have teachings, they have meditations, they have different practices that kind of help them experience what they're learning. And it is almost the whole day.
Yeah.
They carried until night, sometimes late into night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually coming to
that would be
India
great to have you, David.
Yeah.
It'll be wonderful to have you and your wife.
Thank you.
Great.
And people can find all this information on your website.
Yes, everything is there at oneworldacademy.com, and every information. We run several programs. The one that happens in the rest of the world is the Being Limitless, which is a 2.5-day program. But in India, we have the FOT, the Field of Transformation program, and then we're also bringing in another program to your countries, the Beautiful State course. It is another 5-day course, a course that will help you translate your transformation and bring passion into every aspect of your life.
Awesome. So how does somebody like Tony Robbins find out about you? Did he find you on the internet?
Tony Robbins and Krishnaji have been friends for long. We've known each other for 10 years now.
Oh, yes, you've known each other.
They're friends for long, and that's why Tony Robbins was there.
So how are you going to get your message out there to the world? How are you going to impact all the lives with your incredible passion and knowledge of what people need to know? How are you going to let everybody know about this?
Oh, we're going to have as many people with a common vision, say for you.
Yes.
You're interested in bringing about a transformation with whomever you're working. So we're going to collaborate with as many people as possible so that we can be reaching out there.
And do you have a have a goal in mind of how many people in the world you would like to reach?
Right now, no goal in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
It is more a vision in terms of wanting to spread.
Yeah.
In terms of numbers, we've not had a goal.
As many people as you
Yes,
can.
but we are also having an online program launch soon.
Yeah.
So we'll have online programs, so a lot more people who are not able to travel can come. We've brought this Being Limitless program to your countries, so you don't need to travel to India for the 2.5-day program. But then we're also getting the Beautiful State program again into your countries. So it's a 5-day journey. And then there is journey happening in India. Of course, that is the magical one.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is magical, but I would say that was the most magical because it is an environment which is contained and it's amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about women in leadership, women leading the world. What are your views on that? Because I obviously over the last 100 years, it's all been dominated by males, and now women are starting to come out and starting to expose and make big impacts and differences in the world, which I think is incredible. What are your views on that? Because you're a lady.
Women have always
things.
been leaders.
Yeah.
Women have always been leaders, leading families, leading children, leading their spouses. But right now, the civilization is moving ahead that they're also coming out to be leaders in businesses, leaders in politics. As long as you're not living in stress, as long as you're able to move from a beautiful space, you will be an excellent leader. And a woman has the capacity to nurture, to love, to build. She is born with that capacity. So she's going to be a great leader if she's going to build this entire thing from a beautiful space.
Excellent. Thank you. And let's just give an example of somebody, especially in London. Anxiety is a big thing in London. So what would your advice be to somebody who's a very anxious person? What type of things would you recommend them to do?
I would still start off with a 3-minute meditation, three breath practice.
Yeah.
Or the 3-minute conscious breaths. I put it into 9 breaths now.
Yeah.
So if they can start off with a 9 breath practice and end of the practice, if they're able to say returning to the now.
Yeah.
If they continue to do it, then they'll be able to see how much the mind is projecting about the future and how much they're living in the future and not in the present.
Yeah.
So if they're able to continuously do this practice as many times as possible, that would be the best thing for them.
So if somebody's very anxious and then they're going into a panic attack, for example, then you would just tell them to sit down, relax, take 3 big deep breaths in.
Let's do 9 breaths now.
9 breaths.
Because 3 conscious breaths,
Yeah.
and then 3 diaphragmatic breaths,
Yeah.
and then 3 prolonged exhalation breaths.
Yeah.
We put it as 9 breaths. Let us just do this practice so they're able to move away from that pushing, obsessive projection into future.
Excellent. And also, why do you think we don't have to suffer to achieve big things in life? Because
how do you think we would achieve if we suffer? If you are in a bad state, if you're not in a beautiful state, if you are in a suffering state of pain, sorrow, jealousy, anger, fear, hurt, or loneliness, there is nothing that we can achieve. And the entire journey towards achievement, an entire journey towards making resources or greater resources available for us, if you're going to spend the entire journey thinking only if you're living in this state, you're going to be effective. But actually, we're not effective in that state. A great leader you can ask any great leader, a leader doesn't come from this place of suffering. A leader comes from a place of passion. A leader comes from a place of vision. That's why he's a leader. He or she is a leader. And that's when he's able to achieve what he or she wants to achieve. So by living in a suffering state, assuming that we will be able to achieve, it's a very wrong understanding that we've had of life. Living in the suffering state, you're actually not giving out your best. You're stopping yourself from achieving. Because you can't use anger to fuel success. You can't use hurt to fuel success, because the entire journey, if you're living for 10 years in that space of anger to achieve whatever you achieved at the end of 10 years, it is not worth it. Because life is it is a beautiful life, and it is so wonderful to live life from this beautiful state and to create so much of abundance.
Yeah. And who would you say the 3 role models were for you? Who have they been? Who are the role models? Who have you inspired to?
I can say one role model.
Yeah.
It's my husband. I have seen him, I'm married for 20 years now. So I've seen him get angry. I've seen him get irritated. These are the only 2 emotions I've seen, because he's not a sad person. He can never get into sorrow and unhappiness. That's not his cup of tea. But even the ease with which he can move away from those emotions, the way he can just observe what is going on and then get out of it with ease, is amazing. So he's definitely a very great role model for me, because it's amazing to see an individual who can live with such awareness. And I'm sharing life with him. So.
And how does he do that?
Because he knows he can be productive only if he's in a beautiful state. He knows it is not worth living in a not so beautiful state. It is not worth living in a limited state. So I think he has a very clear seeing of it, so he just walks out of it. And I learned it from him.
He taught you a lot?
Yes, a lot. The way he lives his life teaches so many people a lot. Teaches the faculty who are living with us. So
that's awesome. And what is the meaning of life to you?
Meaning of life is we actually feel connected in relationships, and in that connection there is so much of purpose, there is so much of fulfillment, and you can drive life from this place of connection.
And the importance of international cooperation in order to have an impact on the world, because there's been world leaders who have had big impacts on the world. Do you see there being more collaborations as we move forward, so more people working with each other to have a bigger impact on the society?
I definitely think it's going ahead. It is going to be more on collaboration, and it is going to be more on a common vision. It is not about my vision and your vision. The world will be a more beautiful place if there is a common vision of living in peace and not living in conflict.
Yeah.
I think we are moving towards it, though there is so much of conflict in every area that we see. But the leaders are trying to push it towards it.
And what would your message be to what would your one message be to the world?
Okay. As long as we are conflicted within, there is only going to be conflict outside. And you're going to live life from this conflicted space. There is nothing great, or there's nothing valuable that you can actually share. So it is very important to start off with your inner journey. It is very important for you to live in a beautiful place, in a beautiful state, in a state of flow, whereby you can create a great beauty in your life and great beauty in the world around you.
That's beautiful. So where can all the listeners and viewers actually find you guys? Where can they connect?
At oneworldacademy.com. So you will have all the information, and there is a contact detail just in case you need any more.
Yeah.
They can just write to it. And
are you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, everything is One World Academy.
Everything's on One World Academy. Okay, excellent. So we'll have all that in the show notes, so people can click on and find you guys and
thank you so much, David. That was wonderful.
Yes, thank you for taking the time, and it's been an incredible journey for me this weekend, and I'm looking forward to going back.
I'm looking forward for your sharing actually on what has happened to you in the weekend, your experience in the weekend. If you can put it as a testimonial, it would be great.
Yeah, of course,
yes,
no problem.
You can add it.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you for joining us today, and wish you all the best in your success and your journey.
Thank you so much. Namaste.